Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin.
And I'm Sandra Priestley. Happy Thursday.
Happy
I'm
Thursday.
so excited to chat about this topic today. I can't wait. But first things first, I am
Yes.
not feeling well. So I am drinking Earl Grey tea, like hot, nice, hot. I love Earl Grey tea. And I am drinking it well, you can't see it, in my Ralph Waldo Emerson mug. And it says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." That's the quote.
Love
And
it.
then on the inside, it says, "Believe" as a verb, to place credence in and accept as true.
Love it.
Like, just so powerful to drink out of these mugs. I love it. So
Little message.
yeah, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking a Grape Creek Bellissimo.
Mm.
I had a girlfriend that came over and we opened up the bottle of wine. And when I opened it, I broke the cork off.
Oh,
Fell in there. So I feel like I need to drink it pretty quickly because I kind of think it might be gross. And I have water as backup in case
okay.
it is already gross
Yeah.
because
You never,
I haven't tasted it yet.
you never know. Is it
Nope.
okay?
Still
Are you
good.
are you straining the cork through your teeth, the little cork
Just a little
pieces?
bit. I'll just spit it out. If you see
Yeah.
me spit out occasionally, just a little cork.
Okay.
Okay, let's
I
go.
want to tell the story. Like I'm so excited
Mhm,
to do this live with you
mhm.
because I think it's going to be amazing. So, I'll give a little bit of background. On the weekend, okay, so you listen to Abraham in the mornings,
And in the
15.
evenings before bed.
Oh, do you? In the
Oh, yeah.
evenings?
Mhm.
I like to listen to Abraham when I wake up in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And it just puts me to sleep. Sometimes I'll listen like 2 or 3 times, like 2 or 3 of them if I can't really sleep at all, but I don't know, it just calms my brain down. It calms the thoughts down. So if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm thinking, I always turn on Abraham.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times in the morning when I wake up as well. But I had listened to this particular video clip on the weekend. And I loved it so much. Okay, now I gotta find what it was, the name of it. "Once you make peace with where you are, miracles will happen."
Mhm.
And so I listened to it a number of times. And then I guess it was last week, I sent it to you
I
in the
think on
morning.
Monday morning,
Was that Monday?
because I listened to it on my way in to work that. You
Okay.
sent it right before I left. Mhm.
So what was super cool was I listened to this several times, and then you and I just listened to it again
Mhm.
prior to or like before we hit record.
Yeah.
And the first time I listened to it, I heard one thing. The second time I listened to it, I heard something different.
Mhm.
You sent it back to me, and I remember I sent the text and said, "This cracks me up and I love this analogy." And you're like, you were going to listen to it again, but you had already listened to it. So both of us listened to it
I did
coincidentally.
not know I had listened to it until I listened to it after you sent it.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I had no idea.
So amazing. But what was interesting to me is always how we can listen to the same freaking thing and we take different messages
Mhm.
depending on who we are and
Yeah,
depending on the energy that we're in,
and
the
where we
situation
are.
we're in, what we're paying attention to. Like it's just so I love it so much that you and I, because we don't know what we're going to take away from it, but
Yeah.
you and I are very similar. And I'll guarantee you what stood out to us is going to be different. So I can't wait to do this.
Correct. Yes. You
What was also interesting though, is when we were talking about it before, was that both of us, the very first time we listened to it,
Mhm.
focused on something that was completely irrelevant
Uh-huh.
to the story,
And out of the vortex.
out of the vortex,
Like,
total judgment.
total judgment, total judgment.
Right. So the backstory of this is this dude that's talking to Abraham is saying that 2 days before he believes that he basically manifested sickness, he had a fever and he nothing was going to keep him. So he decided he was going to go anyway. And both you and I at the same time, the first time we listened to it,
Yeah, not together.
What the fuck is your problem, buddy? You've got a fever.
There are hundreds of people in the room.
You're giving this sickness to everyone. Why are you there, you dumbass?
Don't be an asshole.
Right. Totally.
It's the whole point of the story.
I know.
Focused on the bullshit.
Vortex, totally focused on the bullshit, and we didn't get the messages at all.
And what was interesting to me is how far into the segment that piece was when we just listened to it.
Yes.
Which tells me the first time I was listening to it, my mind was somewhere else because I missed all the gold.
I know.
Not that there wasn't gold after that, but holy moly.
I thought the exact same thing. So now I just do this lead in that we're going to take different things away, but the first time we did not. We are the same.
Well, our judgment's the same.
I did think, when we're out of the vortex, but I did think the exact same thing. But whoa, we listened to a full 10 minutes probably.
Yeah.
Before he starts talking about his fever. Where was I the first time? So listening to a thing, and then I just jump into, let's remove this loser from the crowd. Why, like,
send him back.
He's there. But so I mean, interesting though, because total judgment piece on both of us, and there was so much gold there.
Yeah. So you want me to start?
Yeah.
For me, she got me in the beginning because he was talking about contrast, and he was talking about not being able to show up for people like they wanted him to show up, and the disapproval, and he wanted it to stop, not liking the things that were coming. And she basically is like, but the contrast is a gift sometimes. Sometimes when the contrast shows up, it's a gift. And we were talking about this last week, and we use different words, but when things pop up that we don't really think we want, instead of freaking out and fighting against it, stopping and going, oh, what's getting ready to work itself out? What's coming? How am I elevating? How am I becoming that next version of me? And getting excited instead of going, oh my God, the world is caving in on me. And that's the biggest thing, is to start celebrating all of it. We didn't come here, as she said, to have a feathered nest. We didn't come here for this perfect, easy ride. We came here to live and to experience life. And contrast is part of life, because we cannot know what we want if we do not know what we don't. And it's clarifying.
I like this too. Now that you're saying it back, I did like this too. And I actually wrote down a couple of things, because it wasn't the thing that stood out for me, but it was something that I wrote down. The contrast you think you don't want is the grid filling in the next logical step.
Yes.
And I thought, oh man, because like we spend so much time thinking, I don't want to have to put like, what was it at the very beginning? Something like, everyone thinks once you get over the shitty things happen, oh, woe is me kind of level, once you evolve and you go, okay, like we're going to have shitty things happening. It's life. You're going to have contrast. Then Abraham sort of said like, everyone kind of gets to this place where you think, oh, I've got to endure contrast in order to have the amazing stuff happen.
No.
Part of it. I remember if I said this last week, but like my son said something, and I don't know where this comes from, but I'm assuming it's a quote from somewhere. It's like, once you hit success, the devil comes for you. And
Okay.
it's sort of opposite. I don't know if it's a sports thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like it's talking about contrast,
Yeah.
but it helps you to level up.
Well, it elevates you.
And so many people, including myself, thought I have to endure the contrast so that I can learn the friggin' lesson so that I can get to the next level.
Mm-mm.
But it's not like endure the pain.
No.
It's like the universe sending you this gift of now handle this.
Mm-hmm.
How can you evolve from it? Like
Yeah.
this is telling you where your next step is or where
Yeah.
you're not, where the dog shit is that you don't want to step in. Like this is the magic.
And where does it lead?
Well, right. We can choose to still step in it, I guess. But
Yeah.
like when we can see it as a gift of like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the analogy of the stove. That was the thing that hit me last weekend
Uh-huh.
when I was listening to it. And again today, it is like, because Abraham said, I wrote it down, I think, maybe not. Basically gave the analogy of like, you know, putting your hand on a hot stove, putting your hand on something that is going to cause you pain. And instead of just, you know, I'm not going to touch that hot stove, like learning from it.
Yeah.
Go, oh, stove, you need to cease to be because I can't
Yes.
control myself around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you like package yourself up, you inject Novocaine
Yeah.
into your hands and you sew these things on the bottoms of your palms. And like, I'm going to protect myself from this stove
Yeah. And
and
condemn the stove.
condemn the stove and make sure that this stove like does not hurt me again.
Yeah.
Needs to cease to be because I can't control myself.
Yeah.
Often do we do that?
Oh.
And me and my negative thoughts
Mm-hmm.
are that.
Mm-hmm.
Me and this like propensity for worry that I have to put the e-brake on.
Yep.
And it's not always, but it has been for the last little bit. I've really been noticing that the worry and the fear is popping up. I've been like my trip switch is hit and
You need to listen to your session.
default. Yes, I have been.
Okay,
And
good.
my default is to be to flip into fear and worry and trying to create all of these problems that I can solve. Like we can't solve imaginary problems. And
No.
94% of the things that we worry about don't fucking happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't stop me from wanting to touch the freaking
Yeah.
stove.
Yep. Because it's a dopamine hit.
It's a dopamine hit. It's a way of controlling something that I have no control over.
Yeah. Yep.
It's control.
Yeah.
And so when Abraham talked about the stove, I'm like, damn it. Damn it.
She's reading my
I
mail.
am just licking the burners on that
Yeah.
stove
Yeah.
and wanting the stove to go away.
Mm-hmm.
It's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's conditional.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness is not conditional, but I am in the space where it feels like it. So it was the stove that was like,
Well, and the
it
stove
got me the
spoke to me because what it reminded me of was, there are some people in my life that are the hot stove
Mhm.
in the sense that they're negative, they're critical, everything is wrong with everything. And I want to tell them to shut the fuck up. Like,
Right.
I just really literally kind of avoid any close contact because that's what I want to tell them. So I'm just,
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very guarded, but I don't let them too close because I want to shut them down.
Right.
And why am I asking them to be different? And that's another thing that I got out of this one. is that if I am in my, and which I have been before, in my place, I'm in the vortex, I'm feeling good, and things spew out of their mouth. And I'm able to just like, it doesn't touch me. I don't feel it. I don't take
Yeah.
it personally. I just think, wow, that must suck. And
Yeah.
kind of carry on.
Mhm.
And it hit me. That's where you need to be. They are who they are. They're going to criticize. There's nothing that they're ever, I mean, they're always going to find something to criticize me for, my family for, or, you know, the way I do things or whatever.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is. But why does it bother me?
Well, and Abraham said, I wrote this down too because this was so good. Um, when you're in alignment, you
Mhm.
are bothered by someone else's misalignment.
Correct.
But when you're not in alignment, you're extremely bothered by someone else's.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
it's like I am trying desperately to get into alignment, to stay in the vortex,
Mhm.
or I might be like on the edge of it. And the thing that I cannot
You're
do,
wobbly.
yes.
Yeah.
And the thing that I can't do is listen at all. It's like fingers in the ears, la la la, like I can't do it. And so
Mhm.
if I'm not very strong in myself, I have to have massive boundaries. But I will say I cannot talk about that.
Yeah.
Like I no longer just kind of some people I guess I avoid, but I have noticed I become very strong in my personal boundaries this
Yeah.
past little while, which I
Mhm.
think has been the greatest gift of this sort of contrast that I am in,
Yeah.
or that I've been in, because it really has allowed me to be verbally um like have those boundaries, like
Mhm.
have those conversations that most people don't have.
Mhm.
I've been able to just say, you know what, this conversation does not help me right now, I cannot go there.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that has been one of the real gifts of this
Yeah.
contrast, is like be very, very good with my boundaries now.
Mhm. But I want to get to the point where I don't have a response or a reaction
Oh
to,
yeah.
you know, just to where I can
Yeah.
really
Just
look
let them be.
and then,
Yeah.
or not stuff it, and then bitch about it for 3 days after. Can you believe
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to get this dopamine hit for the next 3 days because I am so mad?
Yeah. And Abraham talks about that too,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
said, we are not bothered by anything, like nothing can shake us.
Yeah.
Like in the vortex all the time, in
Mhm.
alignment all the time. Nothing that anyone else does.
And we won't be there all the time because we need the contrast, because we need to learn and grow and evolve. And if everything was perfect and everybody was perfect, I do think we might get bored. And it would, because it would be hard for us to elevate.
Well, and also, how would you know when to celebrate? Like, how would you know joy if you don't know pain?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
yin and the yang of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we can't have the darkness without the light.
Mhm.
And so I think that,
But it's our interpretation of the darkness.
mhm,
And we don't have to make it hell.
darker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that. I mean, we can look at things that we might not love that are happening and not give it really too much airtime and go, well, wasn't planning on this. Let's just see what happens. How's this going to work out? And be easy about it instead of, oh my God, Sandra, got to
Mhm.
talk. My,
Yeah.
my roof is caving in on me as we speak,
Right.
and making it this much worse deal because some of the inconveniences that in the past were devastating to me,
Yeah.
now I see them as, that's just a little bump.
Right.
It's an
You know,
experience.
This just happened to me. Side note, this just happened to me yesterday. So we had our new quartz countertops placed in, and my dishwasher had been hooked up. And what I did not know was when the countertop people came in to put my sink in, they disconnected my dishwasher. And so normally I would put the dishwasher on like delay, and so that it would turn on when I went to bed. But for some reason I didn't do that. I had this knowingness that this would not be smart. I thought, maybe there was silicone that, like, I don't know that I should really put like heated steam near this silicone. So I'm just going to not. I got up in the morning, I turned the dishwasher on, and I was sitting in the living room, which is close. I was talking on the phone. I hung up the phone, just like a lot of different blessings. Like I was talking to my husband, and a patient had come in for him. And so he had to get off the phone, which stopped the call. And then I hear water dripping downstairs. My
Oh, is the
dishwasher
kitchen upstairs?
upstairs.
Okay.
Yes. I hear water dripping downstairs. I panic. I'm thinking the bathtub was left on. Like, I didn't know. I went downstairs, ran downstairs. There was water pouring from my ceiling above my kitchen. I panic. I run upstairs. I stop the dishwasher. There's water all over the floor because the pipe was just completely left unhooked. So all that water drained everywhere. Over my new kitchen, my new flooring in my kitchen, under my new cabinets in my kitchen, everything. And so called the contractor, Cam called the countertop people, and I was telling my friend that this has happened, and she goes, I can't believe how calm you are. And my response was, well, people make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how easy it is to just forget to tell the homeowner, even though I was there, but it's so easy to say, Sandra, I don't use your dishwasher. The contractor's going to have to come and fix it. It's a quick, easy thing to forget. I'm not perfect. I make lots of mistakes. I could do it myself. Why don't we give people some grace?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, well, we're going to have to fix it. The only thing we're going to have to do is probably paint the ceiling in the basement, but still, and I just thought, wow. Because she was saying that she would have been freaking out, losing it. She said, I can't believe how calm you are. And I really just thought, this is like no big deal, just a mild inconvenience.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of life. Yeah.
But previous 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have been there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been freaking out. I would have been scared. I would have been, oh my gosh, was this my fault? I might have been pissed.
Yeah.
But I think as we evolve and we realize that some of the big things are really the small things,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to just stay in alignment no matter what, and realize, okay, like I really thought, well, this is interesting. I wonder why this had to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I moved on.
Mm-hmm. And everything's okay.
Everything's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
And
red, just
had you had a different reaction, which, let's be honest, we all have.
yeah,
We've all lost it over silly shit.
right.
Oh, the hangover from that is bad
It is.
because it involves sometimes being ugly to people, demanding because we are right, damn it. And then the guilt for why would you talk to another human being like that? They made a mistake. Have you never made a mistake, Leigh? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And all the emotions that come with that, instead of just letting it be and knowing it will be fine. And it is always fine.
It is always fine. It always works out.
Mhm.
Like, I really did think, huh, I wonder why this had to happen for us.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
why did this have to happen? Huh. I wonder it, like, it'll
mhm.
show itself or it won't. But I really just, it feels powerful. And I think in my younger years, I probably thought power was standing up for myself, making an angry phone call.
I'm gonna show them.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them I'm the one that is not going to pay for this. You know how that, like, you get the ego involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now for me, power is emotional regulation.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it really is emotional regulation and grace and flow. And okay, what do we do?
And maybe that's being 50, I don't know. But we
It-
have the ability to look at the big picture and go, "Okay, really, what do I want here?"
yeah, not always. I mean, because
No.
I
No,
did
no,
just go
no.
through some nasty crap in contrast. But at the same time, it seemed, at the time, that seemed bigger than, now I'm just like, oh yeah, okay.
Mm.
It's just some water.
Little water, it'll dry.
Just some water. The other thing that I really liked in this episode was that Abraham said, perfection is endedness.
Mhm.
So it's a flawed premise that we should always be perfect.
Yeah. And it's not real.
No.
But think about how we do hold ourselves to these standards. I
Mm,
need to be here. I need to look this way. I need to do these things. I need all this stuff to happen for me to be perfect.
yeah.
And so then we hold ourselves away from what we want
Yeah.
because I'm not perfect yet. And it's a
Exactly.
bullshit excuse
Mhm,
to not show up fully in life.
mhm. Yeah. And you talk about this in weight loss.
Yeah. But
Like,
it's with anything.
go show up. Oh, it's totally with everything. But
Yeah.
like, your weight is not an excuse not to show the fuck up. Your weight is not an excuse to go and buy an amazing outfit and rock it.
Yeah. Correct.
Like,
Or
show
go
up.
on a date
Yeah.
or yeah. But I see people and I've done it and there are times that I catch myself doing it.
Mhm.
You know, I can't do this until this bullshit. Do it now.
Yeah.
Feel like you want to feel now. Don't wait for some outside thing to then make you worthy of feeling the way you want to feel.
Mhm.
Show the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it all. I loved the whole episode.
I laughed a lot during that episode too.
Yes.
Like I took a lot away from it emotionally, but it also made me giggle.
Oh, yeah. Like, the interplay between
Yes.
the two of them was
Mhm.
so funny. We should put the link in the show notes
Okay.
to
I think I
the
can do that.
episode.
Yeah.
But I loved, like, also what I noticed was Abraham continually correcting this dude,
Mhm.
and just in the funnest way possible.
Yes. Because it
And
wasn't a condemnation
it was not.
at all. And she was talking to all of us because the things that were coming out of his mouth
Yeah.
were so relatable. And she even said that in the
Yes.
video.
Yeah.
But we all got it. We all knew exactly what he was talking about because we do. We all go through the same shit.
Yes.
Trying to be
Yeah, it was so
perfect,
good.
trying to get approval, all the
It was
stuff.
so good. And I'm sure that the next time I listen
You'll get
to that
something else.
same episode, I'll get something else.
Mhm. It's just like when you read a book.
Mhm.
You read it and you get one thing out of it, and you go back and you read it and you read all these things. You're like, how the fuck did I miss this?
Yeah.
And every time you read it, you get something different.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing with movies. There's
True.
always
True.
layers, and because your brain gets rid of the irrelevant information. So if you think this is not possible for me, you can't see it and it just disregards it. And then when you start opening yourself up to what if new
Mhm.
things start showing up.
Very
So
true.
it's interesting how our brains perceive information for us, but
It is.
it's our focus.
I remember, I'm not sure if I said this on the podcast before, but I remember the very first time I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I picked up the book because it was an Oprah's book club recommendation, and I love Oprah. And I bought this book, I think when my firstborn, like I was home on maternity leave.
Mhm.
And I tried reading it and I could not connect to it, like at all, couldn't connect. And then when I decided I needed the book, I picked it up again. I was going through something and I picked it up again and I started reading it. And I remember thinking, okay, this is so easy to understand. What was I doing when I couldn't? And it even says in that book, if you're not able to relate to this, like you're not at the level of consciousness that you need to be.
Mhm.
Like
It doesn't make sense, put it down.
right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there was not much time between, like not maybe a few years and
Yeah.
not a lot of personal development that I had done in between there. I watched a lot of HGTV, but that was it. And I was just not ready to read it the first time.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was open to receiving the messages the second time.
Mhm.
And it's amazing the difference. I remember just being shocked at the difference.
Yeah. Where you were. Side note, Paul was out of town last week. Um, and he went to a concert in San Antonio. So when I go to bed, I have my ritual, I listen to my music, I turn on Abraham, and then that's what I fall asleep to.
Mhm.
So I go to sleep listening to Abraham, and then I wake up. And you know what I wake up to? Is Oprah, hold it, interviewing Abraham. It is on YouTube. I took a picture of it, so I'll send you the picture so you can look it up. But
Okay.
you've got to watch it. In fact, I didn't watch it. I was sleeping. But we need to watch it this week and we can talk about it next week.
Oh my gosh, that will be
Yeah,
amazing.
I know.
Oh, I love Oprah.
But on
Okay.
that note, we're out of time.
We're out of time. This
Okay.
was fun.
Yes. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour. Bye.
Bye.